Yo, we need to have a proper discussion about this. This, whatever we're hearing, it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay? We're gonna talk about this. I'm 100% sure that Jaron Ennis Boots team is ducking Vergil Ortiz again. I'm 100% certain of that. And we've seen it. Like, I mean, look at this. This is evidence right here.
How
I
true
don't
is
care
that
if
there
I
was a
get in
real
trouble for
offer
this.
made to Boots
Yeah.
and he turned it down? And could you talk about like what was offered to him? How much money was offered to him?
I don't know.
So let's hold
Boots.
on, run that
And
back.
he turned it down. True is that there was a real offer made to Boots
Yeah.
and he turned it down. And could you talk about like what was offered to him? How much money was offered to him?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't.
That's a straight up question, okay? You don't have time to think and lie about that shit. So let's hear Virgil's response and be an investigator. I want you to look at this man and be like, "Oh, okay, well, he thought about it too long. He might be lying, dude. You could hear it and how fast he speaks. I'm gonna examine this shit for the first time in like a year. Let's look at it
I don't know
and see
that.
what
I
he
just
says."
know that the only thing that I know for sure is that we. I heard on Twitter that we got an offer, and then I go straight to my manager, and he's like, "No, we didn't get an offer." So I had to say something, and there was some back and forth. Oh, so when I went to Riyadh the first time in November, and I met up with Turkey, I went to his like his compound, his farm or whatever it was, and they said that more than likely I was going to fight Boots, and I was like, oh shit, okay, we're finally doing this. You know, Oscar was there, and everyone was there, and I was just like, okay, cool.
At
This
154, obviously.
yeah, because I can't move down.
So when Turkey and those guys said that you were going to fight Boots, was there a number thrown out?
There was no number.
No
so
number.
there was no number at all. The only thing that I knew was that okay, this is a real possibility now. Like, you know, he was 147. I had just moved up. It's a real possibility. And so Oscar was there, Turkey was there, my manager was there. Like, hey, this can probably happen. I think they even kind of gave me the green light, like right there, like they nodded at me, like yeah, it's gonna happen. So I thought we were already gonna fight in Saudi. Then I think the next week, I was at home and my dad's like, hey, they're probably gonna announce it. And like we did the next few days. I'm like, oh fuck, so we're fighting. All right, so I'm like getting mentally prepared and all this shit, starting all my stuff. And then days go by and there's no word, and I'm just like, okay, maybe they're kind of a little snag or something, right? Yeah. And then it didn't happen. That's when I got.
Look, I'm gonna say it like this. There is no evidence that Jaren and his boots wanted this fight more. Okay? Look, I'm gonna say this right now. I put this on my mother. And when I put it on God and when I put it on mother, dude, I'm being honest. This man, I've been watching boxing. I watch sports news all the time. I haven't seen anything from Boots that tells me he really wanted this fight, okay? And so my intuition tells me that it was Boots' team all over again. It was his team that chose not to fight Vergil Ortiz. And so that's why we're not gonna get it. It's because this dude with the fucking with the bum beard he's a pussy. Straight up. And you know what Boots is doing? Is he's fighting. He's fighting Xander Zayas, right? That fight's going. It's going through. Harry Sig, hello man. How you doing, man? Dude, that fight's going through, man. There's something disgusting. There's something truly, truly disgusting about who is really in control here, right? I think they need to go live with this shit. They need to do a live stream and negotiate the terms live, okay? Look, I'm gonna break it down in all different kind of ways, okay? If you see a lot of Vergil Ortiz, anybody's a fan of him, dude, you'd be lying. I think you're lying. If you tell me you're not a fan of Vergil Ortiz, this guy went on a practical 20 knockout streak, bro. This guy went on the longest boxing knockout streak that I had ever seen in my life. And so to tell me with that in mind and with the coach, think about the coach, Vergil Ortiz's coach. The man is successful. The man isn't someone I don't detect. I've never felt like Virgil's coach was somebody who would be very careful. I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see, help me out here. I don't see an extremely dangerous boxer like Vergil Ortiz, him not wanting this fight to happen. I don't see that. I don't see it. His coach or Vergil Ortiz. So I truly believe in my heart that Jaron Boots and his team is is ducking the fight completely. And to say the least, if you don't like what I just said, well then I'm gonna say something else. There's proof all over the internet that Vergil Ortiz has showed he wanted this fight more. Okay? For Vergil Ortiz to file a lawsuit against Golden Boy, that shows how much he wanted this. Dude, who does that? Right? We could say, okay, that was a stupid mistake, and Virgil doesn't know his policy and his contract very well. But you don't do something like that unless you're angry and you're upset and you feel like something's been taken from you, right? So I think there's a lot of evidence that points to Virgil absolutely wanting this fight, and unfortunately, whatever the case may be, somebody is undermining this shit. And it's not, I don't think it's the fighters, I really don't. And what's up, man? Boots signed the fight before he fought Lima. Okay, but then that says a lot, and that makes a lot of sense because a lot of times they sign contracts ahead of time and whatnot. But if you want my honest opinion, Xander Zayas doesn't stand a chance. He's a young boy. If you want to get into to detail and compare Boots to Xander Zayas, Boots is gonna beat that boy. Okay, he's gonna take advantage of the rising prospect. So, alright then. Oscar agreed with Dazn for 3 million. Winner gets 100 plus 50% pay-per-view. Wow. Virgil never signed. He wanted 7 million. There's a lot of shit of who and what. I think doing negotiations live would be the only solution, man. Cause that would be the only way to figure out like who's really saying no to this shit. You know what I'm saying? And with Turkey Al Sheet, we've got a video of Turkey Al Sheet being one of the first people to want this fight and to acknowledge it. And so to say there's not any big money behind it, I think that's bullshit. It's not shit, it's court facts. You know, I let's take it down a little bit. I don't think Boots has the experience that Virgil has. He doesn't. And I don't think that this fight that Boots is about to have is says anything about him. I don't think I how do I swear and tell you that Xander Zayas has yet to impress me? How do I tell you that? How do I tell you? Okay, well, you know what? I'll say this. This is going to be Xander's and Jaron Boots Ennis' first big fight because I haven't seen Boots fight one big name. Think about that. He hasn't fought one big name yet. So, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think Zayas versus Ennis is fair because they haven't had any pay-per-view main events. Fair enough, I guess. Turkey is Zufa. What? Let me read that. Turkey is Zufa. He don't promote outside Zufa. Boots is a unified lineal champion. What accomplishments does Virgil have? He's just been beating champions though. Virgil's been getting those big fights. Virgil's been the people's boxer. Okay? To tell me now that Virgil's knockout streak didn't win the hearts of people, that's bullshit. How could y'all appreciate Canelo the way y'all have been, but y'all can't appreciate the fucking the bombing that Vergil Ortiz has been doing? It's bullshit. So, and then the champions, the all the champions that Virgil has beat, like, I mean, I wouldn't say he beat them in spectacular fashion, but he got the job done. Did he not? He got the job done, man. Take a little drink of this. Virgil got trashed by Bohachuk. Beat Madrimov, who has, yeah, Madrimov hasn't beat anybody, man. I don't, Madrimov has not impressed me one time, dude. Every time he has a big fight, he loses. Dude, that guy sucks. He's more of a character. But, Virgil versus Bohachuk, man, dude, that was like chopping down a tree that would not go down. Man, Bohachuk. I mean, that's one of those fights you gotta see again and again, dude. Like, Bohachuk was able to catch Virgil Ortiz off balance multiple times, dude. I mean, you could say it wasn't a knockdown, but I think that was skill. So Virgil's beat no one. Yeah, man. I don't buy that bullshit, bro. You can't. How are you gonna sit here and tell me Virgil's beat no one when he fucking just came off the world's greatest knockout boxing winning streak with the perfect winning record to match the KOs, and now you're telling me that because he hasn't knocked out these champions that he hasn't done anything. Like, what kind of expectations are you on? Dude, you're on a whole nother level of expectations, brother. I'll tell you this right now, man. Canelo was a con artist. He's a con artist, dude. He had took advantage of rising prospects. And then he finally had the balls to challenge somebody who he thought he could be, and thankfully he walked into the wrong cave because that shit was raining, dude. This guy was taking advantage of these boxers who had a future, and now look where most of them are, dude. They're gone. They're all gone now. You don't hear anything from Berlanga, man. Dude, Canelo ruined Berlanga's life. He has never been the same since then. But, well, that's pretty much how it goes. You know, I don't know, man. If, okay, he ducked Boots at 47. He ducked Buck right after, dropped out. Took two tune-ups and got beat up by Bohachuk. You know what? If you do your research, and I don't have to convince you, but if you do your research, Virgil Ortiz got a lot more done than Boots, and he's got a lot more done in spectacular fashion than Boots. And if you go to Boots, all of Boots fights, Boots is a far more boring boxer. Dude, Boots is like he's just all skill, man. He's not a fucking tank. Dude, this guy's no Iron Man suit. He's just Boots is pure skill. He's not dangerous like Vergil Ortiz. He's not. And I have yet to see that from Boots. I haven't seen it yet. So what belts does he have? He's got the fucking WBC belt, dude. Vergil Ortiz has got like two WBC belts. Let's look it up. What belt does Vergil Ortiz have? He holds the WBC belt for interim welterweight. Previously held the gold welterweight championship. Hmm. So he doesn't have one championship. He's got, yeah, he's got one, from what I read. And what does Boots have? Dude, I would never in my wildest dreams stay home or not show up to work to see Boots fight. I would never do that. And it's not because of that I don't like him. It's because that he's not entertaining. How do I say that, dude? Dude, Boots is not entertaining. We'll see how long he can go, dude. Shakur is one to watch. He's the one you should be staying home for that shit right there. Yeah, but he's fought nobodies, dude. You're giving all this credit to Boots and he hasn't had one pay-per-view, man. Clearly, bro, you just hate Vergil Ortiz. You just hate him, man. You're mad that Vergil Ortiz has more knockouts than Boots. Now what do you have to say about that? Vergil Ortiz has more damage, more ongoing damage than Boots. Okay? Vergil Ortiz has had the better fights. Right. Okay? I don't know where these belts or what I missed. Where did these belts come from? You tell me where these belts came from that Boots got. Who did he fight to get these belts? Blow my mind. Go on, tell everybody. We want to hear it. I'm going to be shocked. Because guess what? I'm not going to be shocked. You're going to tell me a name that does not ring a bell. Right. So, you know, like I said, Boots hasn't had that big fight yet. And I don't think I think that this is a fair fight actually. I was saying that okay, Xander Zayas would be too easy for Boots, but actually given that both of them haven't had the superstar fight at a superstar competitive level, this is actually going to be a fair fight for the two. I'll admit that. And it wouldn't, and I'll say this, Boots fighting Virgil would actually have not been a fair fight because Virgil has had much more experience having these big pay-per-view fights with these far more skilled boxers. So, I don't know if Boots is ever going to be able to catch up to him, but that's all I have to say.